What does it take to be a great entrepreneur? America's top business experts speak out.
The thing I've learned in my career is that longevity counts. Success is probably not going to be overnight for most of us.
I never wake up without thinking of here are the things we're going to do today. And at the end of the day, we often look at each other and say, okay, look at all we have accomplished, and here's what tomorrow is.
A very long time ago, I took a class in time management, and one of the things I learned in there is eat a frog. Do that first thing in the morning. Do the worst thing you've got to do all day is eat a frog.
Welcome back to Money Hunt Small Business Challenge. Our topic today, how to get eyeballs to look at your smoking hot new website. Specifically, the following three issues. Number one, does Mike Sweeney go local or national with his website? Number two, how does he persuade old line suppliers that the web is something that they can benefit from? And number three, once he's made that sale, how can he prove that he's got the best model versus some of his competitors who are already online? Robin, did we miss anything here?
Well, I think one thing that's occurred to me in looking at the situation, Cliff, is that he's got a lot of restaurants who think this is a great idea. And what he can be doing is using these restaurant owners to sell the idea to the vendors because they care about pleasing their customers. And if they go and say, gee, you ought to try out this foodedge.com, I'd love to do business this way, it might really help move things along a little bit.
Great. Let's get this problem solved. Jeff, you built a world-class website from ground zero virtually. What's the secret?
Well, I think Robin made a very good point. One of the sort of new marketing methods that the internet has really made popular is viral marketing, and that's the realization that as an entrepreneur that you are in fact not the best marketing source you have in the company, a happy customer is. And in our case, once we realized that a few happy customers can market far more effectively to other customers than we can, I think you're right on target with that, with Mike saying, in fact, one idea is to go get one of the things that we did was we took a few of those early customers and we said, look, you don't even have to pay us. In fact, we'll give you some equity in the deal if you'll become a partner, and they're real live customers. Now, of course, there's a line you walk if you have any of your initial customers having equity, but the bottom line is doing what you can, extending yourself to get your first set of customers very happy and incenting them to become your marketing team. They're a lot more effective.
And I think that plays well into the regional nature of this market. We're looking at markets that, for instance, restaurant owners in Washington, much different than those in New York. These operate on the local level. Many of them are family-owned businesses. They go back generations. I have sold to food brokers in an earlier life. Very difficult market to get a hold of. I think one way he could get a hold of them, though, is by going out and setting up events in his local cities. In Philadelphia, for instance, we used to set up skyboxes at that stadium and invite them all out, and having their customers invite their suppliers out to these events. Very effective at getting these old line businesses out.
In fact, Mike made the point that in the video that he's got a chicken and egg problem, getting the restaurants, getting both ends of the food chain on at the same time. Yeah. You really have to look for these one-to-many opportunities where a single event can generate a lot of interest in one place. It's just too hard. It takes too long.
Because because you obviously have to get the restaurants to get the suppliers, and you got to get the suppliers to get the restaurants. But the one piece of good news I'm hearing here is, from what little I know about the restaurant business, there's a lot of loyalty between chefs and their suppliers, which plays in. I mean, even some of these old line suppliers that just don't get the web, if my biggest customer is screaming, hey Cliff, I'm doing a lot more online, you got to get online, that's something I think that I have to listen to.
It's relationship driven in this industry, and the more he can build those relationships or help facilitate those relationships, perhaps through email marketing or going out proactively from his site to these targets with information that can help them run their business better, the more he'll build his business.
A key lesson learned in this business is sort of digging into what that loyalty is about. What is loyalty based on? Because there's lots of factors. Sometimes I'm loyal to a particular supplier because of convenience. Sometimes I'm loyal to them because of a high level of service. Sometimes it's the best pricing. Part of the task here is to figure out what drives loyalty in this industry and figure out how to deliver that online.
Absolutely, and I think one thing is the quality of the product. I think in what he's targeting, that's vital. And the more high-quality purveyors he can bring into that circle early, the more he's going to set down a statement about his business and what it's dedicated to do.
What about giving the software away for nothing? Is that a strategy to try to get the suppliers on board? Just give them like a 30-day free trial and a hookup?
I think that you've seen that is the most common internet strategy, is that a lot of companies have been built by giving it away free up front. Which means that you don't want to spend too much getting there. You're making a big investment, whether directly or indirectly, and then hooking customers on your way of doing business, and then coming back and charging.
He might have to go even further and give away the hardware. He might have to give away a few laptops, a few PCs to get these guys online and get them ordering.
Even if he doesn't give it away, though, we're talking about the fact that, for example, chefs are a different breed. This is not the first round of adopters of the internet. One problem you'll run against is when you come up to these folks and they say, look, I'm just not online. You can do two things. You can walk down the street and say next, or you can say, you know what, we've partnered with a company and we can get you there too. We can provide you step one and hook you up, and then we'll give you a reason to be hooked up with our product.
Absolutely, partner.
What about this third challenge, though? Once he makes that sale, and I agree, that's probably the steepest part of the mountain climb that he's got to do. There are other websites out there that are doing the same thing, but in a different way. Jeff, I'm interested in hearing, when you were setting up Priceline Perfect Yard Sale, how did you decide, there's all kinds of different ways to buy things on the web. How did you decide which one was right?
I think, again, that really came down to, and I think Mike has an advantage here, he is a chef, is understanding the mindset of the customer. And a lot of folks take a very web-centric view of a business, and in fact, restaurant owners and suppliers today, they don't really care about the internet, they care about their business. What we did was we sat with both sides of our customer base and said, what is it you care about, and how do we help deliver that? I think Mike has a great opportunity, knowing the business inside out, from saying what are the most important elements in building this type of business to these customers and delivering that.
And that positioning point, being a chef, selling to the industry, is something he's got to hammer home in his PR strategies. And when he appears places and when he talks to people, that's the first thing he has to deliver as his calling card.
Okay, we got a lot of good ideas here. Now we've got to give some real-world advice to our entrepreneur, Mike Sweeney, which we will do right after this. Welcome back to Money Hunt Small Business Challenge. Our guest, Michael Sweeney of FoodEdge.com, is back with us. Let's get this problem solved. Greg.
Mike, you're dealing with a very localized, old-school business, old-school industry, and my best suggestion is for you to do everything you can to build relationships in that market. I don't care if that's events, I don't care if that's ball games, I don't care if that's email marketing. What you need to do is be in front of these distributors and purveyors and the restaurant owners. It's not a hard market to find. You could probably put a young kid on the task of generating an email distribution list for all those targets in the New York area, where you could go out with valuable information directly to them to help them build their business, to build some sort of relationship and ongoing dialogue with them online.
Right, Jeff.
On the website, what you've got to do is you've got to deliver some technology differentiation to beat the competition, and it's got to be, forget trying to teach people, the supplier and the restaurant side, about the web and how it works. Deal with them in their language and things that they care about. For example, supplier data reporting. Suppliers have a hard time getting daily data on where food goes in restaurants, who's using what. You can provide that on the web, and that's a benefit they understand. On the restaurant side, you can do things like an online planning engine that helps me plan my food. You can use push technology that specifically, when I log in as this restaurant, I know what this guy buys, the screen changes. And it's very tailored, even though it's a national system, it's tailored to what I'm looking for as a chef, as a restaurant owner on my side. So you can use the interactive technology of the web to provide benefits that both sides of your food chain understand.
Sure. Okay. Michael, you have to use a carrot as well as a stick when you're dealing with people, especially people who are a little bit afraid of technology. As we've said, these restaurant suppliers especially are not web-savvy people. They're afraid of this. And if you come on too much like a .com guy, you're going to enhance that fear rather than reduce it, which is what you want to do. But there is a way, and the way I would suggest you handle them is to use people that they respect. They see, forgive me, a young, college-educated, definitely hip, maybe a little West Coast-looking kind of guy coming in the door. And these are sort of down and dirty folks, a lot of them. And let's be very blunt about it. These are family-owned businesses. They've been around along their educational level. In a lot of cases is not yours. And they're going to be nervous. They'll listen, of course. They'll be polite. But they also are not listening to what you have to say. Maybe you need somebody who looks a little bit more like them, especially if you're going to do the direct one-on-one presentation. But there's another side to this as well. You can use fear very effectively. If I'm not on the web and I don't think the web is right for me, I'll tell you what will really get my attention. It's when my customers come to me and say, hey, Cliff, you're not on the web. Where's your website? I need you to have a website. If you don't have a website, I'm going elsewhere. Trust me, that gets my attention.
That's right.
Okay. Jeff?
For sure. What you really need to do is use both sides of the equation to build your business. Get the restaurateurs to play to their purveyors and tell that story to them, and the purveyors to tell the restaurateurs. And then you'll approach that viral marketing that Jeff was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and I think Cliff hit on a very good point there. There's typically what we've seen is there's two things that move people in the industry. One is that they see the benefit and they're an early adopter. That's a hard sell. That's evangelism. That's a tough business to be in. The other side is people react to their competition, and when they get the impression that I'm going to fall behind if I'm not riding the wave, that works very effectively as well. You have to kind of figure out which language speaks best to your customers.
And fear is a more powerful motivator than even reward.
Oh, very nice. Michael, you've heard a lot of advice today. Some of it I know you probably heard before. You said your father was a lawyer, right?
Yes.
So I know you get a lot of advice at home. What's the first thing you're going to do tomorrow morning?
I'm going to go home, talk to the purveyors, and work backwards from there.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing this with us, Mike.